Napoleon Bonaparte was born August 15, 1769, in Ajaccio, Corsica. He died May 5, 1821, on Saint Helena. He became first consul of France in 1799 and ended his consulate in 1804. He became the Emperor of the French in 1804 and lasted until 1814. He was one of the greatest military commanders and a risk-taking gambler. The Emperor of France, whose military endeavors and sheer personality dominated Europe in person for a decade, and in thought for a century. Napoleon was born to Carlo Bonaparte, a lawyer and political opportunist, and his wife Marie Laetitia. Laetitia's adultery with the Comte de Marbeuf, Corsica's French military governor, and Napoleon's own ability enabled him to enter the French military academy at Brienne in 1779. He moved to the Parisian École Royale Militaire in 1784 and graduated a year later as a second lieutenant in the artillery.
Napoleon was able to spend much of the next 8 years in Corsica thanks to his ferocious letter writing and rule bending. Military promotion also followed, but Napoleon became opposed to Paoli, and when civil war erupted in 1793, the Bonapartes fled to France, where they adopted the French version of their name, Bonaparte. From 1793 to 1798, Napoleon kept rising through the military rankings, to the point where he was given command of the army of Italy and left for a campaign in Egypt and Syria. Despite his efforts, the Egyptian campaign was a failure, so he abandoned his army and returned to France in August of 1799. Then he took part of the coup of November 1799 and finished as a member of the consulate, in which later on, in 1804, he declared himself Emperor of France.
Napoleon's fame, ambitions, and character were based on conquest, making it almost inevitable that his organized Grand Army would fight further wars. However, other European countries also sought conflict, for not only did they distrust and fear Bonaparte, they also retained their hostility towards revolution.
For the next 8 years, Napoleon dominated Europe, fighting and defeating a range of alliances involving Austria, Britain, Russia, and Prussia. Sometimes his victories were crushing, such as Austerlitz in 1805, often cited as the greatest military victory ever. Bonaparte forged new states in Europe, including the German Confederation and Duchy of Warsaw, also installing his family and favorites in position of great power. Murat became King of Naples and Bernadotte King of Sweden.
Napoleon Bonaparte was a rather proficient ruler in comparison to others. He not only spoke with words, but also with actions. As soon as he overthrew the monarchy, he settled religious issues and worked to rebuild France from the 1789 crisis. If you ask me from an objective point of view, Napoleon is definitely one of the top 10 authorities ever. No country besides Hitler's Third Reich had ever had so much power in their hands. His revolutionary ideals and reformation projects are what caused the entire population of France to back him up in his conquest. This is why he is regarded as awesome.
Napoleon, a great ruler if you ask me. Despite his size and other physical handicaps, he let nothing stand in his way. And by nothing, I mean nothing. Sure, French people would regard him as a good guy and the rest as a bad guy, but if you ask me, he's not such a bad guy after all. Let's compare him with Hitler. Everyone compares Napoleon and Hitler as the two greatest rulers of all time, but by greatest I mean on power, not that they were the best for the people. The difference, in my mind, between these is that Napoleon never committed mass murders, he never did racist actions, and this is why I don't see him as a heartless ruler. Unlike Hitler, yes, it's true, their hunger for power led them to their downfall, but Napoleon, unlike Hitler, left them in a better position than they already were. Means that after Napoleon, France was here, whereas before it was here. And no one will ever be able to question his military genius, because in a time span of 6 years, he made the greatest empire the world had ever seen at the time.
Yeah.